So there's been news that the WBO have ordered Usyk to fight Joseph Parker for the WBO World Heavyweight title. And from what I'm hearing, that there's not a ton of interest around this fight in terms of the commercial side and the finance side. The guys who would really be making this fight happen in terms of Riyadh season said this fight doesn't really interest them. And I hear it, but on the other hand, if it's not Joseph Parker, who else is it? The only other person it could be is Kabayel, which I guess would be a bigger fight because Kabayel's unbeaten. He's undefeated. He's younger, fresher, and in terms of explosiveness and power, he's got that over Joseph Parker. So in theory, it could be a more exciting fight. But not to say that Joseph Parker is boring, because I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't describe Joseph Parker as necessarily a boring fighter. He's had some boring fights. His fight against AJ was pretty boring, but he lost that fight. The fights he's been having recently, like the Deontay Wilder fight, I wouldn't say that was boring, but that's because Deontay Wilder's just ridiculously, unpredictably, wild and technically awful. But the Bakoli fight wasn't boring. Put Bakoli on his ass, right? Put Bakoli straight on his ass. So I wouldn't say Joseph Parker's a boring fighter. Maybe by comparison to Kabayel, maybe he's a bit more boring. But what I could see happening, honestly, is this fight doesn't get made, and then Usyk just probably vacates that title. Joseph Parker gets upgraded to full champion, and then maybe that fight gets made, and Usyk fights Joseph Parker and becomes a 3-time undisputed heavyweight champion. That's ridiculous. It would be ridiculous at that point, because it's getting to a point where you're almost, and Usyk isn't doing this, but you would almost avoid guys to vacate the belt, then eventually fight them, win the belt, and then become undisputed again. I don't think that's what Usyk's going to do, but you're almost incentivizing that at a point. But one thing I do like about boxing is the fact that this guy's your mandatory challenger. If you don't face him, we'll strip you of the belt, right? And that is one good thing, that is one of the few things that boxing has over UFC, where one guy will be made the clear mandatory challenger. You will fight him next for the belt. If not, you will lose the belt, right? But Usyk would beat Joseph Parker. There's no question about that. And obviously, from Usyk's side, he's just made over 100 million fighting Daniel Dubois. Joseph Parker's not going to get you anywhere near that sort of payday. But in the same breath, it wouldn't be chumps change. I'd imagine he could probably clear another 50, 60 mil. It depends, honestly, because if Riyadh season aren't interested, then I don't think Matchroom's going to be paying Usyk 60 million. I don't think Frank Warren's going to be paying him 50, 60 mil. The only people that have got that sort of money to be putting up is the Riyadh season. And if they're not interested in it, then that fight probably doesn't happen. But overall, it would be a relatively easy fight for Usyk. I don't think Joseph Parker's quick enough. I think defensively he's good enough, but it gets to a point, if you can't knock out Usyk, you can't outbox him, you can't outwork him, because he pushes a pace that no other heavyweight can match. And Joseph Parker certainly can't match it. And Joseph Parker is one of my favourite boxers in the heavyweight division right now. He's had a lot of good. He's on a really good run. 6 wins on the bounce, compared to where he was. He had a couple of losses, but 6 wins on the bounce against top level guys. Not the cream of the crop, but respectable names to have on your resume for sure, and deserving of the next title shot, in my opinion. Completely deserving of the next title shot. But yeah, we'll see what's next for Usyk. I mean, if he doesn't fight the mandatory, I don't know who he fights next. Maybe, like I said, maybe Kabayel. It must be Kabayel. Or the Tyson Fury trilogy. We'll see. I hope it's not the trilogy with Fury. I'd like to see Fury, if they do want to go down the trilogy route, I would want to see Fury have a couple of fights first. Because the thing is, as crazy as it sounds, in my opinion, Fury is the most likely to beat Usyk. He's got the tools to do it. And if anyone could beat Usyk, it's Tyson Fury. And Usyk's already beaten him twice, which is crazy. It's crazy. And, fights were competitive in moments for sure. And that's almost why I give it to him as well. But we'll see. We'll see. Who do you guys think is going to be fighting Usyk next? Do you think Usyk will fight his mandatory challenger, Joseph Parker, or do you think he'll vacate and fight someone else and then fight Parker down the line and become a undisputed champion again? I'd be curious to know what you guys think in the comments below. But yeah, another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.